this video talk about the human energy system. So the human aura. So we are basically a layer of energy in between the earth and the skies, right? We are the human being that we consider ourselves. We are connected to the whole universe as an energy. We're a form of matter. Matter is energy, energy is matter. So at the bottom, we are connected to the earth, and above, we are connected to the air and the radiation and the skies and everything else, the whole universe. And above, we have stars and galaxies and everything else. So in between, we have our own energy system, starting from the crown chakra to the intellect chakra to the throat chakra, heart chakra, sacral, solar plexus, sacral chakra, and the root chakra. So we'll talk about the chakras later, but for now, we are going to talk about the different bodies, the subtle bodies that we are composed of. So the first one is the physical body itself. It's made up of the physical matter that we are. So, for example, we are made up of the food that we eat, and so from childhood, from when we're a baby, all the way till we get old, we are always changing. And the way we change physically depends on the food we eat. So for example, if we're eating a lot of fat, we're gonna, or the wrong foods, carbs, carbohydrates, we become fat. If we are eating certain types of food, our blood sugar increases. So depending on what we're eating, that's the kind of physical body we acquire. Similarly, we have an emotional body. So the kind of experiences that we're going through and the way we deal with people, the kind of emotions that arise through those experiences and interactions determine our emotional body. So our emotional body is not created in one day, just like our physical body is not created in one day. Our emotional body is also created from childhood all the way till we age and die. So we are, again, collecting all of those emotions. Maybe we had a heartbreak, maybe we went through a sad event in life, maybe somebody made us happy about something, somebody gave us a nice gift that we feel great about. So our emotional body, maybe the news is constantly creating negative emotions in us if we're too much into that. So depending on how we are interacting with the world and the activities that we're taking part of, our emotional body is also developing just like our physical body. Similarly, our mental body is also developing from childhood to our old age. For example, when we go to school, when we get knowledge, when we learn new things, when you're taking, for example, this meditation course with me, or if you're learning math and you're learning to compute things and calculate things, maybe you're learning a good decision-making process. So as you're learning all of those things, your mind changes, your mental body changes as well. Similarly, the kind of environment you live in, the kind of electromagnetic waves that are around you, they also change how your physical body is, and inside the pollution around you also will have an impact on you, the quality of the water you drink. So you're not just the physical body, you're also the emotional body, the mental body. You're also a body of experiences. So for example, when you travel, when you learn something, when you read a book, when you practice a new skill, for example, music or aerial fabrics or yoga or anything that you practice, right? A sport you practice, all of those things keep changing your body emotionally, physically, experience-wise, mentally, and everything about you changes. And so that's who you are. You're basically all of these things you're taking in, whether it's your experiences, your food, or different emotions, or different radiation or pollution, or any of those things. Now, on top of your physical body is also this body of your clothing. On top of that, we are also starting to have a body of artificial intelligence, of gadgets, for example, if you're wearing Bluetooth headphones, or you get a Bluetooth implant of some sort, or you're wearing a Fitbit. So you have this whole new body of AI things. For example, if I'm wearing a microphone, so we can have that kind of body, right? Our clothing body is a kind of our fashion statement body. For example, our hair, our beard, our jeans or shirt or necklace or like jewelry, right? So it's up to you how you might define that body. For example, you can say it's all clothing, it's all wearables, or you may split it down further and say this is clothes and this is jewelry. So in that way, different books or texts might describe the bodies a little bit differently, because there are different ways to see them, right? Just like you can see it all as clothing, or wearables, or you can see it as clothes and jewelry. So if you find slightly different descriptions of the bodies, that's kind of the reasoning. Now, within each body is also different types of bodies. For example, when we're talking about the physical body, it's not just one physical body. It's actually many systems. For example, there's a nervous system, or a muscular system, or our skin, or our blood system, cardiovascular system. So our physical body is also made up of all these systems. So is our emotional body. There are different systems. There are systems which are maybe related to how we think about the future and how we desire things. And there's systems related more to how we experience our past, or so there are different types of emotions. How you group them into systems, that can also vary from text to text sometimes. But I hope you're getting the basic idea that we are essentially a system of energies. Matter is energy, energies matter. And these systems basically are kind of subtle bodies, which have subtler bodies, which are the subsystems. For example, we talked about the physical body. So that's kind of the idea behind the human energy and the subtle body system. Now, when you see, for example, we talked about the crown chakra. So energy related to the crown chakra is basically considered your spiritual energy. Energy rises from the root chakra. It's called the Kundalini energy. It goes up through all of the chakras as you clear them, and we'll talk about that in a later video. And your third eye chakra, which is here, has to do with your intellect, and then your crown chakra, which is up here, has to do with your spirituality. So when you see all these spiritual leaders, you will see that we often draw an aura around their crown chakra, representing all of this energy emanating from them through their crown, and that is their spiritual energy. All of their chakras are clear and lots of energies emanating from them, and that's why they're able to help the world more. Now, if you're thinking about solving problems, like we talked about in an earlier video about how you can use meditation to solve different issues, for that, when you're meditating, I want you to keep in mind all of these different subtle bodies, because different problems are related to the different bodies. For example, if you're having emotional problems, heart problems, heartbreak, or those kind of problems, sadness, anger, resentment, you have to focus on how do you improve your emotional body. If you're you're struggling with things like simple tasks in your job, you might have to work on your mental body. Now, if you're struggling with things like obesity, then you have to work on your physical body, as well as now certain things like obesity may be multiple things. There may be mental roadblocks and obstacles that you need to overcome in order to start eating healthier, which would then in turn impact your physical body. But it starts with understanding that the sources of where you're collecting, what you're collecting, that's building up that body as you're growing it. So for example, if you're constantly in emotionally negative environments, then you may be collecting a lot of negative emotion in you. If you're constantly in an unhealthy eating environment, you may be collecting a lot of negative physical elements in you. So you have to be careful about what you put into your body. There's really only, your spiritual body and your physical, emotional, different bodies that we talked about. And if you can take care of all your bodies, you will be a much healthier, better person. You'll feel better. You'll be happier. You will be smarter. If you're so depending on which body you're working on, right? If you work on your mental body, you'll get smarter. If you work on your physical body, you'll get healthier. So in that sense, you should really be working to improve all of your bodies, but some may need more help at times than others. And this idea is kind of like the Russian dolls, like one inside another, the dolls. So here you can see there's the physical body, the energy body, which is the radiation or the different wavelengths and all of those. The mental body, the wisdom body, body of your knowledge. So like I said, different people may break up these bodies in slightly different ways. As you saw in the first diagram, it's a little different from this diagram. But the idea is the same, right? And your soul or your spiritual body or your bliss body, these are kind of your central body around which all of these other bodies are wrapped around. So for example, you're your soul, and then on top of that you might have your emotions and your other things, and that soul or that body is considered your smallest body. Could be a spiritual body. Some of that may depend on what your religious beliefs get into, but at the end of the day, there's something on top of which you're wrapping all of these bodies on top of. And when you're meditating or when you're there are different phases, right? One is you're awake, like I'm awake right now and I'm talking to you. So when I'm awake, I'm very aware of my physical body, right? I'm aware of my hands, my face, because I'm seeing my face in the camera and so on. Now, when I'm sleeping, I'm not as aware of my physical body, but I might be dreaming and I am maybe more aware of my subtle body, right? So I'm having experiences through dreams and I'm aware of my subtle body, which is I might be dreaming, I may be aware of my emotions, how I'm feeling. And then when I'm in deep sleep or I'm in deep meditation, so meditation again can be at different levels. I could be meditating with my eyes open. I could be meditating with my eyes closed. I could be in a state where I'm very relaxed, and I could be in a state where but there's a lot of thoughts going on still, and I can get to a state where I am not really thinking about anything, and I'm very, very relaxed. And something similar can happen during deep sleep, and that's when I am most aware of my causal body rather than my subtle body or my physical gross body. And so consciousness tends to go through all of these different layers, and depending on our state, which is how we are feeling at the given time, we may be more aware of the different bodies. So if we're dreaming, we may be more aware of our astral body, and especially if we're doing astral projections, which we'll talk about later. And we may be able to experience different things around the universe doing that. If we are sitting down and maybe doing some work and thinking, we may be very aware of our intellectual knowledge and that kind of mental body. If we are maybe watching a movie that a sad scene's going on or something and we relate to our life, we may become very aware of our emotional body. We're feeling strong emotions like sadness or love or missing someone or whatever that might be. So in this sense, we are basically experiencing the different bodies with more or less conscience at different times. And so that's what I wanted to say about the different bodies. I think you probably got a good idea by now. And when you're meditating, when you're trying to resolve your issues, when you're trying to grow, you can think about, keep in mind that there are all of these different bodies, and you can work through them. So, if because it will help you. Sometimes you're solving the problem in the wrong way. Maybe you're depressed and it's because you haven't been anywhere and you haven't been traveling and you haven't seen anything, and you're just kind of in a silo by yourself all the time, and that's causing depression. And you're basically trying to resolve that by hiding it under, like, potentially just overeating or something like that. So solving physical issues by eating is not necessarily going to help you solve the emotional issue or the mental issue or the ethereal issue. So or the experiential issue. So you have to kind of analyze which body is being impacted, and resolve your issues accordingly. So the other thing I want you to think about is, not just there's the physical body that you're part of. There's the energy that's kind of penetrating through. So for example, like, you might penetrate, heat can come out of your body. It's also inside. Now, when we talk about, for example, the AI layer, or the artificial intelligence, like Bluetooth devices or wearables or those things, some of them may be outside the physical body, some may go inside, right? For example, if somebody has a Bluetooth implant, that goes inside. But if somebody has Bluetooth earphones, that's outside. So the bodies may actually go through each other and overlap in this way. And so your emotional body, your emotions are mostly inside, right? But your emotions show through your physical body, and that's how we communicate, and we can see other people's body language. We can see what kind of emotions they're feeling. And when somebody's feeling sad, it shows sometimes, right? We can see through that, and humans are very good at seeing that. And so our bodies are not just physically contained. A lot of these energies and other bodies are actually inside and outside, and they go through each other. And so you have to give yourself enough clean space for those bodies to be healthy and dwell in and be around. Now, we don't all just live in, like bungalows or duplexes or flats. That's not our main thing, even though that's an extension of ourselves. You can consider that. And even, another body which is kind of external to us. Maybe you're driving down a car, and so that shell of the car is kind of like your body as well, protecting you from other traffic and dust and other things, stones that might come flying by on the road. So each layer is protecting you. The electromagnetic waves are protecting you. Your skin is protecting you. So all of these bodies are protecting you in different ways. And in your mind, you have so much space, right? Like, you may say, hey, I only live in a 5 square foot closet-like room, maybe, right? You probably live in a much larger space, but who knows? So, but in your mind, there's no constraint of square footage. Like, your mind is very vast, and that's where you spend most of your time anyways. So in meditation, you should use that and this understanding of the bodies to your advantage, to organize that space, to categorize that space, make it nice and clean, and you will be much more effective in everything you do, because that's your main space. Your main space is your head space, your mental space, your emotional space that is in you. It's not just the physical space around you. So take care of the mental space, and I will see you in the next video.